Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. I wanted to jump on here to talk about Darius Alexander. I didn't get to make a video last night because I was on Big Blue in the Bronx's stream, so shout out to him. But Darius Alexander was the pick that I wanted all along for the third round. I was really concerned that he wouldn't last. At the beginning of the second round, we started to see that those defensive tackles kind of come off of the board. You started to see guys like Alfred Collins, which I really wanted here. And I think he's less of a pass rusher than Darius Alexander, but just a really big body, 330 plus pounds, 340 pounds type of guy. Pretty much exactly really close to what Dexter Lawrence is, except the guy can move almost as good as Dexter Lawrence. So he was a guy that was a project, not a guy that's a run stopper for sure at the top of his career, but could turn into a ferocious pass rusher, and it takes up a lot of space. So that was really exciting, but he ended up going really early. And once he went off the board, I was thinking it's Darius Alexander all the way. Darius Alexander out of Toledo. He is 6'4", 34-inch arms. He is 315 pounds, according to Joe Schoen. Sometimes I've seen him listed at 305, but if he's 315, that's even better. I mean, this guy moves like a 280-pound defensive tackle. When I first looked at him, I was thinking like, okay, I really like his tape, but he looks like he's undersized. And I'm thinking he looks like he's undersized because he's moving so well, but he's actually over 300 pounds, and it seems like he's comfortably over 300 pounds. And just him being 6'4", having the long arms, having the size, he really, really holds up against the run. Usually when you get a guy that's like this shifty 3-tech, you don't want him in there against the run because people can kind of target there. But this guy really holds up well against the run. He can kind of sit there and two-gap against the run. He can penetrate against the run. He is really, really effective. He has strong hands. Darius Alexander, man, I mean, I am so happy that this dude fell to us at 65 and we gave up that extra third round pick. And I think we still are able to leave this draft feeling like we got players that are really going to help us. Because you put this guy next to Dexter Lawrence, you put him next to a Brian Burns or next to an Abdul Carter or next to a Kayvon Thibodeau, and Darius Alexander will never get double teamed. He will never get double teamed. If he breaks out and he's like a Pro Bowl type player, which is his ceiling, I mean, this guy's ceiling is, no one's going to be Aaron Donald, but that type of a player, that shifty 3-tech that can shed, that can get into the backfield, that can get upfield in a hurry, he's that type of a player. So if he can reach 70% of that potential, he'll never be double teamed. As long as Abdul Carter is here, let's say Kayvon Thibodeau leaves. As long as Abdul Carter's here, he's going to get doubled eventually. Brian Burns is going to get doubled. Dexter Lawrence is going to get doubled. So what are you going to do with Darius Alexander? If he's a decent rookie, look for this guy to get 4 or 5 sacks this year because he's just going to be the guy who's left alone. He's just going to be the guy that gets left alone. So I'm really happy that he's here. This guy, again, amazing hands, amazing punch when he's rushing the passer and when he's going against the run. But against the passer, this guy, once he gets in the backfield, once he, because he can get off of a guy really quickly. He's really good at getting the hands off of him. And it's like I would love to look back at his college tape to see if he was at one point that 280-pound defensive tackle, because he plays like a guy that's really good at getting the hands off of him. But even when guys get hands on him, he still can combat that. So he's able to get those hands off him, get into the backfield in a hurry. And once he gets back there, he's running a 4.9. He's running a 4.9. So he's running down all these quarterbacks. Unless you got, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. Even then, the guy still may be a guy that can, take a couple of steps and dive to get one of these quarterbacks. So, I just couldn't be more happy. This defensive line is really looking like it could be, it's a top 2 or 3 defensive line. I won't say the best, only because these lines are proven, like the Eagles. They're very proven. They just basically went out and won a Super Bowl for themselves. But, Dex is a proven commodity. Brian Burns played through an injury last year, and he was still really productive. People love to talk trash about Brian Burns, but he was really productive last year while playing through an injury. while playing through that injury. So he's a proven guy. Thibodeau is a guy that looks like if he plays a full season, he's going to get between 7 and 10 sacks. He's not, blowing you away. He's not that amazing pass rusher that we wanted him to be coming out of Oregon, but he looks like a starting pass rusher that's good. That's a really good Robin to Brian Burns' Batman. And then you add a guy who could be the Superman or whoever is above Batman, the Alfred on steroids or whatever you want to say. This guy can be the Superman, the complete boss of all three of them. And Abdul Carter, he could be better than both of them put together. So with him developing, with Darius Alexander coming in, both of those guys are going to have their running mate. And oh man, I mean, I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited. Dexter Lawrence is probably the best defensive player in the league. And then you add all of this around him. I really think that these teams are going to have a very difficult time trying to throw the ball. 5-step drops are going to be a problem. Now, the secondary still worries me a bit. I do like Adebo. I think Adebo is going to be good. I think Holland's going to be good. But again, Nubin concerns me at deep safety. So hopefully he's more of in the box this year. And then Deonte Banks. If he plays like how he did last year, we're going to have issues because they're going to do what they started doing last year, which is get back, 2-3-step drop, get rid of it immediately. And Deonte Banks couldn't cover those routes. Couldn't cover those quick slants, couldn't cover those quick outs, couldn't cover them. So we have got, next year, we have got to cover these quick routes. So we got to start, getting up to the line of scrimmage and challenging these guys with Adebo, with Deonte Banks. And maybe that's why they brought Adebo in, so they could run that, bump and run physical coverage. And Andrew Phillips in the slot. So those guys are all physical players. So we got to get back to doing that and not give these receivers these free releases, because if we can press these guys and throw this timing off, and you got Dexter Lawrence and Darius Alexander and Thibodeau and Abdul Carter roaming over the A-gap, and you got Brian Burns on the outside too. And I mean, there's not much that teams are going to be able to do. And this is why it's so vital for the rest of this draft. We have got to get out there, and I'm thinking we're probably going to go after a guy like Marcus Mbao or a guy like Miles Frazier to help bolster this offensive line a little bit, give us some depth. And I think we need to bring a running back in. So it could be Scatterbo, it could be Ollie Gordon, could be one of these guys, Dylan Sampson, that we have to come away with, because we got to get a little bit more explosion. I don't think we're going to see a receiver taken unless it's like a 7th round guy. It's not really a factor. But if we can get a little bit more explosive on offense, because we've added the quarterback, we've brought back Darius Slayton, Malik Neighbors in another year here. If we can get a little bit more from this offense to where we can even get 7-point leads, 10-point leads, then this defensive line is going to get after it. They are going to be wreaking havoc all across the NFL. And I don't really know many offensive lines that are going to be able to deal with this. I mean, the Eagles have a great line, but there's everybody knows that the dominant defensive line, there's only so much you can do. Because the defensive line only has to win 5 or 6 times a game, and you can change the entirety of the game. Quarterback fumbles, quarterback throws an interception, you get a sack that puts them in a 3rd and 20. That's how you change a game. And all we need is the mixture of Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, and now Darius Alexander added on to that. We just need one of these 5 guys to make one play a game. If each one of these guys makes one play a game, that's a big play. And when I say a big play, a tackle for loss, some kind of play, a tackle for loss, turnover, forced error, or pressure. If one of those guys if they make one play a game each, that's enough to change every game, every week. So I, again, am ecstatic about the Darius Alexander signing. I can't wait to see these guys out there. I mean, I just can't wait. I cannot wait. So no matter what the offense is doing, I think this defense is going to get us 6-7 wins as the basement. And hopefully the offense can step it up, and we can bring in another running back, and we can get a little bit more explosive. And we'll see what happens the rest of this offseason. But so far, I think Joe Schoen is knocking it out of the park. I've had my criticisms. I was thinking if anybody should be fired this offseason, it should be him, because I think Brian Dable has done a good job of what he's had there. He's had a ton of injuries. But I mean, looking at Joe Schoen right now, this is he's doing an amazing job the last 2 off seasons. And if he continues to build this roster like this, I really think this team is going to be one of the better rosters in the NFL, just on this track record. Look at what he's done with the defensive line. Look at the offensive line. The first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, the offensive line looked amazing. And they couldn't run block, but pass blocking, Daniel Jones had all day back there. And, without the Andrew Thomas injury, the offensive line probably is much better. And even when Andrew Thomas got hurt, the offensive line wasn't a complete disaster and a train wreck. So this is just showing the progress that we're making in the trenches. And again, you add a guy like Marcus and Bew. You add some more guys next year. You added some of these guys in this offseason. If we continue to build this out in a year or two, I can see our offensive line being one of the better offensive lines in the league. We just need that guy, Andrew Thomas, to stay healthy. But I'm going to get out of here. Expect more content after some of the more 4th, 5th round picks. 6th round picks that we got coming up. I don't think we have a 6th, but we got, I think, 3 more picks left in the draft. Expect some more content after that. I'll probably make a whole draft wrap-up video, but appreciate y'all for the support during this draft process. And I'm excited. I think the Giants are going to take a step up. Maybe not the playoffs, but we're definitely going to see the best Giants football we've seen in a while.